What's up everybody, my name is Vincent. Welcome to Cryptolution, where we talk about everything under the moon in the crypto universe. Today's Wednesday, October 8th. Now, you may be looking at the dog Bitcoin price because it is down 4% over the past 24 hours. And I'll tell you why possibly that did happen. But also I want to share with you that there is this leading indicator in the charting and analysis that's called the super trend that has alerted a buy signal. Meaning whatever you're seeing with the dog Bitcoin price right now means nothing, because if you pay attention to this indicator and also a bunch of indicators I want to share with you, that this is still confirmed to be a very bullish rally for dog Bitcoin. This is a minor pullback, and I'll share with you all the data as always to prove to you that dog Bitcoin is not only the strongest army but could lead to another tier 1 centralized exchange listing such as Gemini. So let's go and smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel, don't forget to join us on X, and please be careful with any of the scammers down in the comments below. I'll never reach out via WhatsApp, Telegram, direct messaging, or email. So please be careful and invest safely. Guys and girls, let's get right into it. As I mentioned before, dog Bitcoin is down 4% over the past 24 hours. Now, if you've noticed that the Bitcoin price has actually been staying steady around 123,000, not really much has changed. In fact, many of the altcoins are still in the green. But pay attention to something else. Also, if you pay attention to meme coins, they're also still in the green. But I want to scroll down really quickly. Now, when you see dog Bitcoin dropping 5%, different from any other altcoin, I'm going to share with you my thesis a little bit later on in the video why this specific token dropped a little bit compared to every other token that hasn't dropped at all. So I'll get into that in just a little bit. But let's talk about altcoin season. Altcoin season is still around. So we know that Bitcoin does really well in October and November. Altcoins tend to lag behind, meaning you're going to see more of a pump within Bitcoin's price than you're going to see pumps in these altcoins and meme coins. But because of that, Bitcoin will pump, but then altcoins will then pump right after it. So we need to see Bitcoin pump first before we start seeing altcoin season, which could lead into Q1 of 2026. But we want to share with you the metrics of why dog is really, by community and social mentions, the top meme coin that grabs a lot of mindshare. As you can see, dog Bitcoin is the 7th largest mindshare capture within all meme coins. So if you're comparing dog that's at 198 ranking right now with a 230 million market cap, while some of these other ones are actually a lot higher, say for instance, I want you to know that this is completely organic. Notice that there's not that many mentions or social mentions on crypto Twitter, maybe on Facebook, or maybe on TikTok or Instagram. It's not showing up because a lot of these different tokens, all these have marketing teams. A lot of them have insiders. So basically, dog Bitcoin captures this amount of mindshare because it's completely organic. And regardless of what you're seeing in the market cap, that market cap won't stay there for long. Here's another example. So I want to enlarge this image right here. This is again from Lunar Crush. Look how big dog Bitcoin is compared to all these other meme coins. It's one of the largest mentions across all of meme coins. Bigger than Pepe, bigger than Dogecoin, bigger than ApeCoin. This to me shares with me that dog has a lot more upside than any of these other meme coins. That's why I continue to talk about this every single day. Even the Bitcoin ecosystem is actually growing, as you can see. It's literally the 4th largest ecosystem out there. It's right behind the Solana ecosystem, which Solana ecosystem is pretty big. It's like one of the largest fan bases, user bases, developer bases. They even have Solana Breakpoint, which is an event that happens across the world. Bitcoin ecosystem is growing, and this isn't just runes. This is also ordinals as well. Even recently, there was a challenge that BSC Gems Alert, which has a gold ticker symbol. Now, this isn't associated with Binance, but I'm sure that Binance does follow them in some certain way. They did a competition. If this reaches a certain amount of likes, retweets, and comments, they're going to change their profile picture to dog Bitcoin. And we did meet that threshold. They even pinned this tweet, and that's why you saw that they changed their profile picture for, I think it was just a day, where it was dog with the hoodie, but with the Binance logo. So that's just the power of the dog army. Now, next up, we also saw that recently Gemini did like somebody else's post. So it said dog once again is trending in today's news. Now, why do I bring this up? Many of you may think like, is it over for Gemini? Is Gemini even interested? Ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you quite frankly, Gemini is interested. Gemini knows about dog. The whole team is aware of dog. Even Austin Oaks, who still is a dog advocate, still tweets about dog, saying it's up 28%. And speaking of which, remember we had an interview with Austin just yesterday. And if you've seen that interview, specifically, if you go to the time code, that is 40 minutes and 59 seconds, there's kind of an Easter egg right here. And what do I mean by that? That Easter egg shared by Austin is basically, we asked him, hey, we want to earn dog using the credit card. And so Austin replied, even though he doesn't work on the financing side or even the credit card side, people within his company at Gemini pay attention to his content, meaning they pay attention to the comments, to the interactions, to the likes, to the retweets. And if you can understand the decoding of what he's saying, it's potentially something very positive for that community or maybe token. This is why you need to pay attention to this specific clip and watch that interview. I'll post a link on the upper right hand side on YouTube, but you won't see it on X, but you can always find this video on X. But that's just something that I want you to pay attention to, okay? That's something that is an Easter egg. Gemini is paying attention. And not only that, we need to garner more attention from Gemini's team. So say for instance, I'm doing posts like this. So let's show Mel, who works over at Gemini's brand marketing department. And in this post, you can see that Austin supports it. So you can see that he's saying Mel. He knows all these different team members. And it works, ladies and gentlemen, trust me. Some of these people don't really have that many followers. Look at Mel. Mel only has around 1,600 followers. And if you were to comment or say dog around her posts, they're going to notice it. And not only that, pay attention to this person, Marshall Beard. He's the COO, Chief Operating Officer. And we made a petition to have him pay attention to dog. And as you can see, this has 14,000 impressions. But look at Beard Mars. He doesn't really have that many followers, only around 6,100. So every time you post, tag them, or even comment in their post that says dog or when dog or spotless dog, they will see it. This is why it's really important to pay attention to what Austin said, which is that they notice Gemini is watching every single one of your posts, and they take note of that. And then the gear starts circulating within their mind. And then they think, well, with all this momentum, we should probably list off for spot trading. And here's another reason. Look at Grok. Grok has determined that the meme coin community that has the most organic engagement and also brand activation with Gemini is dog to the moon. And as you can see in these descriptions, with organic engagement and brand activation, we are the strongest army out there. Gemini is going to want to list a token where there is momentum, where there's gravity towards a meme coin that's garnering the most engagement. It makes a lot of sense for Gemini to do that because they're going to want to list this so that not only it's available on their platform for spot trading, but they probably want to offer goods and services or benefits to their credit card because of the amount of engagement that Dog Bitcoin offers. Okay, so let's move on from Gemini. Now you know what to do with Gemini. That's your call to action. But nonetheless, we're seeing a lot of activity. Now, regardless of what you're seeing with the price of Dog Bitcoin, you're seeing major whales stack a ton of dog. Roughly 622 million dog has been accumulated over time with 3 new wallets. And total sells don't even amount to the total buys. The total buys outweigh the total sells. So whenever you're seeing the dog price drop, you're actually seeing a transfer of wealth from shorthand retail traders going to transfer to the long-term traders, the long-term conviction holders. These are the whales. Even on the confirmation, the data says that right now, Dog Bitcoin with the super trend indicator had recently a buy signal. Now notice that every time there is a buy signal, look at the Rainbow Adaptive RSI. We see that the Rainbow Adaptive RSI crosses above this purple line resistance level into a bull market. And you can see it's happened over here, here, and over here as well. It happens all the time. The Rainbow Adaptive RSI is very much aligned with the super trend indicator. And notice that whenever there's a buy signal, it doesn't come out of nowhere. It's very rare. It doesn't happen that often. And every single time that it happens at the right moment, and it just predicts as a great indicator. But let's not stop there. So let's also pay attention to another thing. Remember, not too long ago, I think this was 2 days ago, I told you that we needed the RSI to do a pullback. Why do we need a pullback? Why did we need Dog Bitcoin's price to go from 250 million to 230 million? Because with that pullback, now Dog Bitcoin could do another leg up, meaning another pump to the upside, because the purple line is still above the yellow line. And that just aligns with what's going on here, but let's not stop there. Let's pay attention to other indicators. Now, this indicator is free. It's called the red and green zone reversal. Now, we just saw a green line right here. Now, what is that green line? It means oversold zone. Now, whenever we see the green line, we see that it's oversold, and then followed by red lines, which is overbought. But notice that when the green line appears, it doesn't just happen out of nowhere. It happens right before a pump is going to happen. So you can see we saw 2 oversold areas, then we followed by a rally. Then we saw another oversold area right over here, followed by a rally. So what do you think is going to happen in the month of October and November, given that we have this oversold indicator right here? Let's also pay attention to MACD. Have you noticed that the MACD, the blue and orange line, are still below this resistance level? Meaning it's forming actually higher highs and also higher lows. So as you can see, this is a higher high, this is a higher high. And look at this, this was a low, higher low, and then another higher low. It's looking to break out at any moment in time. This wants to cross over into the buyer's market. Then you have the twin range filter, another indicator that says longer positions. Now it could look something like this, where there's a long and then it pumps and then there's a short, a long, but notice that this long was followed by a short very much quickly after that. So this indicator, even though it says long, it could be short-lived, but nonetheless, the long indicator just share with you it's a buy signal. Here's another indicator. This is called the Ripster EME clouds. Now notice something. You'll see that when there is a bearish trend, you'll see this like kind of light beige color to it. And then if it's a bull market, you start to see this light blue color. So right now we can see that the pattern of blue goes into beige, back into blue, back into beige, back into blue, back into beige. What do you think is going to happen next? It's looking like it's going to form another blue cloud right here in the EMA. And this to me shares with me that right now with all these indicators, it's all pretty much a buy, buy, buy. But as I said before, one of my favorite indicators is the super trend indicator, which is absolutely free. And right now it's telling me this is a buy out of the falling wedge. Eventually, this cannot be suppressed for long. Remember, we do have a 25 basis point rate cut possibly happening on October 29th. And as you can see, based on the CME watch tool, based on October 29th, there's a 92% chance that there's going to be a 25 basis point rate cut. Because if you look in December, you can see that right now, 77% chance there's a 25 basis point rate cut again. So we're expecting 2 rate cuts by the end of the year. This is very positive. And when there's a rate cut, the money printer goes on, and that's really good for Bitcoin and for cryptocurrency. Okay, before we close it off, I just want to let you guys know that next Monday, I'm actually going to announce a winner for our $100,000 giveaway. That is roughly around $222. I'm going to give this to one individual. Now, all you have to do is follow my X account, but also subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you can, please post a screenshot below of your subscription so they can see that there's proof that you've not only followed and subscribed, but they're actually participating in this challenge. Now, here's my thesis of why Bitcoin took a dip from 260 million to where it is now 230 million market cap. I think it's due to because our video yesterday was interviewed with Austin Oaks. So maybe there was a buy the rumor, sell the news. Maybe there was people thinking that Austin, by the way, not a listing agent, he is an intern, he is a content creator, that they thought that he was going to say that Bitcoin is going to be listed for spot trading. So you started to see a capitulation of people who speculated and decided to transfer their wealth over to long-term holders. But nonetheless, this doesn't change anything, because it doesn't mean that there's not going to be a Gemini listing. No. In fact, this actually confirms that the Gemini team is paying attention. So in a nutshell, you should understand that Gemini at any moment in time could announce a dog spot trading, but you can't ignore what dog is about to do. Bitcoin isn't going to be just like the top, 193 ranked meme coin. In the month of October and November, we could see Bitcoin out of nowhere have a parabola event, which is why we're seeing these indicators saying long and buy. And because of that, a parabola event would send Bitcoin in the top 10 meme coins across all chains. It can actually be in the top 5 within a blink of an eye. So with that said, these are the times to dollar cost average and to buy into Dog before this number one meme coin garners more mindshare and attention. Because Gemini won't be the only exchange that's going to list Dog. There's going to be many more. Because remember, like we mentioned before, many Asian exchanges are very reactive. They're not about being proactive. American UX exchanges tend to be more proactive, meaning they're more in towards innovation than we see these foreign exchanges such as Asia. So let me know your thoughts down below. I want to hear all your opinions of what we shared in this video. Smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X to receive all of our alpha calls and updates regarding Dog on the Moon. Till then, see you guys girls next time.